Hey, what's up, everybody? So today we're going to be doing another movie review, and today we will be reviewing, well, I'll just show you. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, as some people were just referring to as Mr. Rogers. But nonetheless, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which stars Tom Hanks, who plays the iconic Fred Rogers. And, there's a lot I really want to cover in a short time with this movie. First off, Tom Hanks did a really phenomenal job as Mr. Rogers, and who would have thought? Who would have thought? I just obviously we had the documentary of Mr. Rogers some time ago, and when you think about somebody, especially for me in my generation, Mr. Rogers is a figure on your TV that it was always there, and it was always positive, and it meant a lot as far as the maturity of the youth of my time. And, it's really hard to think, no one could replace that guy. Although he passed in 2003, still reruns and so forth, no one can replace that guy. His face, his figure, everything, the jacket is so much. There's so many symbolic things that remind you of this guy. That the fact that when you do movies about somebody so iconic, you kind of forget that somebody has to play it. And even seeing the movie, still is like, oh wow, Tom Hanks is playing it and did such a good job. And not only just that, Joanne Rogers, his wife, also gave her blessings to Tom Hanks on not only her behalf, but on behalf of Fred himself. So I really just got started off by saying that Tom Hanks did a phenomenal job in this role, and I thoroughly loved and appreciated it as well. But let's talk about the movie now. So I gotta be honest, I really didn't know what to expect. And when I say by that, meaning okay, maybe a biopic, maybe a bigger budget here, just another biopic and so forth. And it just wasn't that at all. It just wasn't. But what this movie was, if you remember from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the TV show, was they remember he used to have that one segment where he used to use the picture boards, and it's the board and you open up a door and then there's a character there. So characters like Mr. Friday, King Friday the 13th. Well, what this movie did was that it opened up a board, and it ended up being a character in which we dive deep into that character, this real person, life. So it ended up being an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but a movie within that episode. And it was so great because maybe you guys have had this happen, but I know I've had this happen in my past before. But have you ever just say you were trying to watch something on TV and it went to commercial, like a movie, commercial, and it went to commercial, and then you just flip to another channel. It's I'm just put it on here till the commercial's done, and then you stay on that second thing and forget what you were watching the first time. Well, this movie, it did that for me, because I went in here thinking I was going to get not only a Mr. Rogers biopic of some sort, and completely got a different movie here. And I am absolutely happy, completely fascinated about the story that was being told here. So this story followed Lloyd Vogel, who's played by Matthew Rhys, who is, it's a friendship in the making here. So Lloyd, who's employed by the Esquire magazine, is being tasked by his boss to write a hero piece about somebody iconic iconic in society that's making change in a positive way. And there was a list of people that was available, but no one wanted to talk to Lloyd, because Lloyd has a reputation from his pieces being really negative, in which he's decorated. He's won awards and so forth, which you've seen in the movie, but Lloyd has his reputation of bashing people. So the people he talked to tends to not like him. But in the eye of journalism, he lists this as telling the truth, telling what really needs to be heard. But Mr. Rogers was the only person who was absolutely open to speaking to him for this. And it was it started off as a really shaky relationship because Lloyd referred to Mr. Rogers, some guy that plays with dolls and does stuff for kids, but like, can you take him serious? You know what I mean? Like, he questioned Mr. Rogers' integrity a very lot in this movie, but it just turns out to be such like a beautiful friendship, and this is based on a true story. So this is a real life friendship between Fred Rogers and the the journalist here, and Lloyd. So the next thing I want to say is like this movie did some really cool things too. Like it had the old school film style, so like the little square picture, the 480i style. You know what I mean? A little bit of an upgrade from the 16 millimeter way of filming, and the one camera shots as well, which when they were on set and so forth. But hearing the classic theme song is so triggering to like my childhood because it brings back so many memories, and it's just when you hear it, it just takes you into like a zone where it's just like so much nostalgia. And like if you was a big fan of him, like you're definitely going to go back memory road. You're going to remember where you were at when you were crossing your legs and sitting in front of the TV, or just imitating him by taking your shoes off, switching your hoodies. And I should have wore a hoodie. Most reviewers, they like to kind of cosplay what they're reviewing about, but it's so triggering because you're just like, wow, I just remember and it brings a lot of emotion. But Mr. Rogers was like a saint. Like knowing the story about how this guy just was so selfless, and even when people wanted to care about him, he cared more about others. He prayed for others by name, which is like really, really like strong. That's really personable for somebody to do that. He was just a saint. The guy just really, he had this really like aurora around him, but just being so positive and just so uplifting, and it just made everyone around him better. And even when he struggled, because he wasn't perfect, he wasn't a god, but even when he struggled, he still would ensure that everyone else around him was first. And just it's so much to get from this. Like this movie had like amazing life quotes and so forth. I'll talk about it in a quick second. But as much as I'm talking about this and how it takes you to play, this movie does get very trippy at times when it comes to like the perspective of Lloyd. So Lloyd not only is struggling, Lloyd not only has a reputation because of his journal pieces, but he's also has like family issues. He doesn't have a good relationship with his father. He's still grieving with the passing of his mother. He doesn't know how to deal with his anger, his emotion, and he just runs away from trouble whenever something is coming his way. So this guy is just really just a ball of fire at time and really don't know how to release. Where Mr. Rogers quickly sees this, and this is his saint factors, because this guy's like foreshadowing things unheard of, and he's just really like he's really channeling to this person. Where Lloyd is here to interview Mr. Rogers, but Mr. Rogers ends up actually interviewing him, asking him the questions, getting him to release, and ultimately just making him a better person. And you see the progressions of it at times. But like I said, like this wasn't a biopic like I thought. Like, I came here thinking I was gonna get some like PBS piece, but end up getting like a Lifetime story. But this movie also at times was like super quiet, super therapeutic, super like really in depth with meditation, and it's just like something like no others. Like some of the quiet scenes, it almost comes off as it being like awkward, but it really takes you into like a calm, peaceful mindset, and it's just powerful on so many levels. One thing they really did that was really like a really big heartwarming moment is every time there was any traveling in the movie from one city to the next city and so forth, they went back to the old school like traveling toy piece model sets that they use in like on Mr. Rogers or on the Mr. Rogers show. So you got to see the trains, the cars, and everything, and it just really brings back a lot of like good heart-filled moments thinking about that stuff. But yeah, like this movie, like again, like Lloyd was tasked to do a 200-page review or survey on this guy, where Mr. Rogers ends up actually doing a survey on him and really getting him to open up and become a better person. And Mr. Rogers kind of stayed guarded in this movie as well with his emotions, but like I said, very selfless. He made sure everyone around him was a better person, and he would put himself in the back seat, and it just speaks volumes to it. But like I said, this movie had amazing life quotes as far as being, you know, human, as far as forgiveness, and just, you know, all types of stuff like that. It was just really, really powerful. The movie was an absolute tearjerker, and it was just a phenomenal movie in and out. I thoroughly enjoyed this. But like I said, this movie comes out November 22nd, so around Thanksgiving time. I hope a lot of people check it out. It's really spectacular, really, really well done acting jobs by everyone that was involved in this. And you know, we'll see where this ends up when it gets to award time, because this was really good. And we know, like I said, we know we're in the heart of the season of these really strong performances and really well constructed movies. And this movie is absolutely here to play ball. So can't even talk. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, and stay tuned. More reviews are coming to you very soon.